afternoon, Cross Timbers. Today is Tuesday, December 8th, 2015. This is Texan TV News from Tarleton State University campus here in Stephenville, Texas. And I am Katie Armstrong. In today's headlines, we take a closer look on how safe elevators actually are, how the implementation of concealed handguns on school campuses is affecting the classrooms, and the AP News Minute. In campus news, Texan News takes a look at elevator safety.
You use them every day, but have you ever thought how much trust you actually put in an elevator?
Students on one college campus received over 20 emails in one semester concerning the elevator malfunctions. The elevators that we examined show that they are only inspected about once a year, but are students concerned about this issue?
I honestly didn't even know that elevators had inspection stickers, so I haven't looked at it.
I'm pretty sure they're really old because, just getting in there, you can kind of like tell,
Well, I see that we get the elevator closure emails, but I never really read them because I never really thought it would affect me.
I think they should be inspected a couple times a year. I feel like they break down way too often for just once a year.
Based on those conditions, they should be checked regularly, just to see how effective they are, because we don't really know. Not even a lot of people use it, so.
Due to how many emails we get over the elevator breakdowns, I feel like they should inspect them at least once a month so then they know if they're working or not.
Any electronics, have effects and stuff like that, they need to be tested and see how well they're doing their job and what needs to be fixed, and touched up.
In the U.S., there are over 900,000 operating elevators, and each serve about 20,000 people per year. That means that across the nation, there are over 18 billion rides to offices, classrooms, and hospital beds with a chance of failure. But how often do they actually fail? According to ConsumerWatch.com, there are over 10,200 reported injuries from elevator malfunctions every year. Although that number may be fairly low, you can still implement these elevator safety procedures.
Number 1, watch your step. Number 2, leave closing doors alone. Number 3, if the doors don't open, ring the alarm and wait. Number 4, if there's a fire, remember to use the stairs. For more information, you can visit www.eesf.org.
In regional news, Texan News investigates concealed handguns in the classrooms and the effects that they may have. One of the most prominent debates in the country is over gun control. Who can own guns, who can carry guns, and what kind of guns can be carried? That debate has traveled as far as the classroom here in Texas, where the Texas Protection of Children Act was passed. If they so desire, school districts in the state of Texas can appoint school marshals. TAS's policy on this law is that while state and federal government gives school districts broad discretion to authorize the possession of firearms and other weapons on school premises, granting such authority brings a host of practical concerns, including safety and liability. Although a school district has no legal liability for failing to protect students against the violent acts of a third-party school shooter, a school district that adopts a policy or practice that introduces risk into the school environment may increase its exposure to federal liability. Several districts in Texas have implemented a school marshal policy, including Argyle ISD. I spoke with their school resource office on Argyle's policy on choosing and training school marshals.
What we have is a very selective process to choose and train and arm staff members. And part of that process is a nomination from the campus leadership, generally the principal, to me. And so they will nominate that person to me, and I'll nominate that person to the superintendent. They go through an interview process with us as well, so we make sure that they have the right motivation for doing it, they have the right mentality, we have an idea of what their background is as far as using a weapon and carrying a weapon. And then each one of them must also go through a psychological evaluation, which is roughly the same as the evaluation that any police officer would have to go through before they're hired onto an agency.
Besides Texas, according to the Council of State Governments Justice Center, 7 states have laws pertaining to the arming of school faculty and staff. These states include Alabama, Arkansas, Kansas, Oklahoma, South Dakota, Tennessee, and Texas. However, not everyone in Texas is a fan of the Texas Protection of Children Act. Stephenville ISD has not created any school marshals, for example. Here is Stephenville Superintendent Matt Underwood with why implementing a school marshal is so difficult.
Arming teachers is, first of all, the availability of a weapon. And yes, there are some precautions that you can take as far as locking it up and piece, but by the time you get to the actual lock piece with a key, with other students around, now you could actually provide a weapon to a student. And so that from an administrator standpoint, that's the scariest piece of the whole teacher concealed or unconcealed carry.
There are many advantages and disadvantages of the Texas Protection of Children Act. Clearly, the debate on school marshals is far from being over.
And now for the AP News Minute.
This is AP News Minute. Donald Trump is getting a lot of heat from Republican Party leaders after calling for a complete and total shutdown of Muslims entering the U.S. Republican Party heads from Iowa, New Hampshire, and South Carolina all criticized him. Those states vote early in the nominating process. An Air France plane heading from San Francisco to Paris was diverted to Montreal after an unspecified threat was received. Everyone got off the plane safely. A South African judge has granted former Olympic sprinter Oscar Pistorius bail. His bail was set at just under $700. He'll have to stay under house arrest while he waits to be sentenced for murdering his girlfriend. And heavy rains are hitting northwest Oregon and southwest Washington state. Floods have closed roads, triggered landslides, and forced residents to evacuate one neighborhood. Sandy Kozel, The Associated Press, with AP News Minute.
Now bringing you the weather from weather.com. We should see mostly sunny skies today with winds out of the southwest at 13 miles per hour. We have a 0% chance of rain, and we should see a high of 73 degrees with a low of 44 degrees. Today's broadcast was produced by Rachel Tuggle, Renee Warner, Caitlin Shaw, Philip Mullen, Christine Humphreys, and Mark Smith. You can watch Texan TV News live Monday through Friday at 12:30 p.m. on North Lane Cable Channel 9. Don't forget to tell your friends about us and become a fan of Texan TV News on Facebook. I'm Katie Armstrong. Thank you for tuning in with us this semester at the Tarleton State University campus here in Stephenville, Texas. Hope to see you next time.